We're back again.
Here we are.
It's been a couple of weeks.
That's right. It always feels strange to take that time. I know, I needed that.
Right? We're in a different room. We're in the living room.
We're in the living room tonight. We like to spice it up.
Right? And I have two kittens who are deciding to play.
They're just playful.
Yeah. So they're going to attack my feet.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
That's all right. That's what kittens do.
Do you want to start with a couple of breaths?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So welcome for whoever's tuning in. So we're just going to close our eyes right now. We're just going to take 3 deep breaths. So the first breath, exhale. Second breath, exhale. Third breath, and exhale. That's better.
That is better. That last breath, all I wanted to do was burst out into laughter. I'm really picking up on the playful energy.
Right?
That was really funny.
So how are you?
I'm really well.
You were away.
I was away. It was a great experience. I went away with my bestie, so it was awesome to just have 5 days, 6 days together to just connect and hang out and explore a new place.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
So,
I'm back now.
Vulnerability.
Yes.
What does that mean? What does that mean for
Probably
you?
say what our topic is, hey?
Yeah.
Vulnerability for me means strength. That's how I feel about vulnerability. And I want to shift how we think and feel and talk about vulnerability. I think we focus a lot on the negative aspects of vulnerability, the scary pieces of vulnerability. And what if we flip that and we put all of our focus and attention into the positive sides of vulnerability? I think our deepest connections come from vulnerability. And I think respect comes from vulnerability, and vulnerability humanizes us.
Yes. The human aspect of vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been feeling this energy of vulnerability recently. And so I did a post on my personal Instagram last week, and I had a few people comment going, "Oh my God, I've been feeling it too. What's going on?" And I feel like we're opening up into something new, and we're being called to kind of step up and out more into showing more of our true emotions, our true feelings. But the thing is that vulnerability, when you look it up online, the definition of it, it actually has in the Webster's dictionary, has a really poor definition.
Really?
Yep. The definition of it, and I don't know it word for word, but it basically means that vulnerability is perceived as a threat.
Ah, that's interesting.
So to be vulnerable means that you're actually putting yourself in a position in harm's way.
Mm-hmm.
So when people hear the word vulnerability, there's this instant, no, I can't be vulnerable. That means that I will put myself in harm's way.
Sorry, the kitty was getting at the cross stitch. That's
Luna has this energy tonight. There's Luna.
It's super playful.
Yeah, she's very feisty. She's a neck sucker. I bet you if I let her suck on my neck.
Will that calm her down a little bit?
Know. Let's see. No. She just wants
She's not into it, eh?
So I feel this is why a lot of people have a hard time being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like it's putting them in harm's way.
Because we've sort of been conditioned to focus on the negative aspects of vulnerability.
Yes.
And not those positive, that connection, that respect, that humanizing.
Or when we have been vulnerable, we've been hurt. So we've either been shamed or guilted or told not to do that, or toughen up, or to close it up. So we are conditioned to close ourselves.
That's right. And to not show your vulnerability.
That's right. And every time that happens, what I feel like is happening is we're putting a layer and another layer and another layer of either armor or protection to protect ourselves, thinking that that's safe. But what we're actually doing is suppressing more.
Yeah, that's not helping.
No, absolutely not.
No. I believe it's Brene Brown who says, that you can't get to courage without walking through vulnerability.
There it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Renee has some really great pieces on vulnerability.
She has a TED Talk, I think, the video.
Yeah.
And we can post that in our Love Spoken here later for those who haven't seen the TED Talk.
It's really worth the watch. Yeah.
Um,
He's just pulling a card.
I'm going to see what the message is tonight. And I'm feeling super vulnerable tonight. I have to be honest. I'm going through some big shifts personally in my life. And I'm being kind of called to take, and when I say risk, it doesn't mean like risking your money. It's an emotional risk.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the most vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, those almost serve the most consequence for us when it doesn't go our way, you know? So it's sort of like vulnerability is the willingness to do something where there's no guarantee of what the outcome is. Oh, and then the card fell out.
The card fell. Right. Can you say that again?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would argue that vulnerability is sort of the willingness to do something with no guarantee.
Right. And that's the risk that you
Yeah.
take, not knowing what the outcome
That's
is going
right.
to be.
You just
Surrender.
That's right.
And a lot of people don't want to surrender.
No, because it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary to sort of let go and do something vulnerable. Like we're being very vulnerable by doing something like this. We're putting ourselves out into the world in a very vulnerable way. But
Yes.
there's something very freeing about that, and it's creating a connection.
Well, that's what I feel. I feel like when people are vulnerable, what happens is it opens us up into this space of shared suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And that shared suffering is this notion that you are not alone. You are not alone because another person has kind of allowed for themselves to soften and open up to a side of them that they may have held sacred. And for another person to witness that, or other people to witness that, it brings out this sense of power and courage and freedom. And what it does is it starts the chain. And I've been witnessing this over the last 2 weekends where I've hosted women's retreats.
Yeah, you've had a few of those.
And the power of vulnerability and what I've seen have been major transformational shifts in these women.
Yeah, and it's by sort of being, I think we often forget too that our actions there's often a consequence of our actions and they affect other people. And when we open ourselves up to vulnerability, it's sort of showing other people, it's sort of giving them the permission, if you will, to open themselves up and show their vulnerability too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what you're witnessing from me tonight is like vulnerability in its purest, because I've experienced something that has left me feeling very vulnerable, very open. And when you feel open and exposed, you can see I'm wrapping myself tonight.
You just sort of naturally want to
right?
cuddle up and
yeah. You kind of want to close it in.
Yeah.
And people are just saying hello. We just take a moment and say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Don't normally get to do that.
No, it's true. We don't.
Again, it's that just being in that vulnerable energy, just kind of, whew.
It's big, hey? I can really.
Can you feel it?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just sort of want to, it's okay.
I know.
I don't know why I said it's okay. I know you know it's okay. I just sort of want to
But this is the thing, like everyone thinks that when you put yourself out there that you have it all together and you have it all figured out. And we don't. We all are working through something. But what we've done is found the courage to say, we feel it's important for us to put ourselves out there to share our stories so that people can find relatability.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The common thread.
Yeah. To humanize.
Yeah.
Yeah. To humanize ourselves, to sort of go back to that. Yeah. And it's sort of, I think that we're often it's easy to watch someone else be vulnerable and to respect that. But when it comes to our own vulnerability, we're very quick to sort of close off. And I think that a lot of the things that make it hard for us to be vulnerable is because we numb.
The numbing.
And you can't, this is the thing about numbing, okay? You can't selectively numb feelings those harsh feelings. When you're numbing, you numb it all. the good and the bad. So it's hard.
Miss opportunities in life.
That's right.
It's the missed experiences.
Yeah, because we've numbed out of fear of being vulnerable.
Right. Okay, so there you've stepped into it. So it's like when we numb, we block ourselves from experiencing positive and negative. Like, so basically life just doesn't exist. You're just here.
Yeah, you just sort of go through it. Exactly. Go through the motions, but you're not experiencing any of it. You're not in the moment because you're so worried about that armor and keeping your armor down. And again, I want to repeat, and I really want to stress that if you think you have the strength to only numb that vulnerability piece of you, you're mistaken. When you numb, you can't selectively numb. I just want to let that sink in. When you're numbing it all, and you don't feel anything. You can't experience anything. You can't be in the moment.
There's a lot of power in that, because I'm feeling vulnerable right now, but I also feel very safe. I'm vulnerable, but I feel safe, and I feel very loved, and I feel very supported. It's just a new feeling inside of me. But I'm also I've gotten very used to connecting into my emotion and feeling them and being okay with them. It's like witnessing. That was my message of the day.
Yeah, I saw that this morning
too, that kind of thing without reaction. It's just like knowing that it's okay.
And I think we hold that fear to open up and be vulnerable because in our mind, we have made the uncertain certain. And that's why we close ourselves off to that vulnerability. We do that with everything. We sort of create these grand images and scenarios in our head that we think are going to happen, but they're not real.
Well, I just don't want to be hurt anymore. Like, I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of done with it. It's like, betrayal is such a big thing, and hurt, it affects us all in different ways, but it's like it's almost like it comes out of nowhere. So you're starting to feel safe.
That's right.
And feel open, and then out of nowhere it's almost like you just get clumped in the head. You're just like, where did that come from? And so that's what kind of hardens us and makes us not want to be vulnerable. It's that fear of the unknown or that unexpected.
Yeah.
But then what I'm also witnessing within myself is that when I make myself vulnerable, I have the most amazing experiences, and I meet the most amazing people, and they see this authenticity inside of me that they feel and express is so refreshing.
Because you let yourself be open.
Right.
And you don't close off to the love. No. The unconditional love. I'm not necessarily talking about romantic love.
Yeah, that's a whole
other, yeah, we'll do an episode on that.
Yeah, but it's like even in the work that I do, I am very vulnerable.
That's right.
Right? It's just putting it all out there.
You're sort of opening your whole heart, again, with no guarantee.
Yes.
You don't know what you're going to get out of that. Yeah.
And I feel like I want to see what people have to say about this. So I don't know if anyone, hi Diana, if anyone has a question about vulnerability, or if you find it, how do you find it to be vulnerable?
What's your experience with vulnerability?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be curious to know.
And we're close enough that we can, I don't know if we can read the comments, but see, now everyone's being all vulnerable and they don't want to share.
Or they're not being vulnerable, right?
Right.
Yeah, because they're watching us be vulnerable. It's that classic.
It does make people feel uncomfortable if it's something that they're not used to.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes work. I think it's a practice, because the world sort of hardens us as we maneuver our way through it. Right. And we build up this armor and we build up this, brick wall because it hurts to be hurt. Yeah, we have to protect our feelings. It's sort of this unconscious, I totally lost what I was going to say on that. It's sort of like that we've created this unconscious barrier of, now I feel like I'm rambling because
no, you're not. No, because it is the unconscious barrier, and it's almost like we do put this wall up, this imaginary wall that prevents us from feeling and experiencing something that could be the most wonderful experience that we could ever have.
Yeah. I think that we miss out a lot of opportunities by not being vulnerable.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'll share with everybody because I'm on this little thing. I don't know if my thing is here, but I'm softening. I'm learning to soften myself.
Are we using it as a?
Yeah, it's like as an example, but I can't find it. Look, you can see me moving around. Oh, it's underneath the laptop.
Yeah.
So
Here we go.
here we go. We're gonna try to move and shift. Just bear with me. This is why we're live, and it's not planned.
That's right.
Never planned.
Being very vulnerable right now.
Radio jig. Okay, there we go. Yep, there it is.
Go.
So this is my vulnerability right here. So I went to a store to buy some journals, and I never would have bought a journal like this. This is a journal that is very soft, and it has the roses, and
not something you would typically be drawn to.
no. But I felt like I had to buy this for myself, and it's all in regards to being vulnerable. It's like I started inside, and even inside, like there's just this black page with a feather on it, and inside the very first page on it says "Love Notes to Me," and I share it because I'm being vulnerable. But so the very first thing that I put in here was, "Soften your heart, dear one. There are many who want to show you a love most grand. Be open to feel each experience with tenderness. Be soft and supple, smooth. Caress each layer of your being with sweet, sweet essence. Swim in the cosmic honey. I love me. I adore me. Be soft and tender, sweet one."
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
I would never write this stuff to myself, though. Like it feels, and I don't want to use a judgment, but it feels floofy. Like it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not your typical.
No.
Yeah, it's something that's a bit out of your realm of what you would normally.
It feels uncomfortable, but it's necessary, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, because I think that a lot of the big feelings are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's if we can get confident and secure and know that what we're about to maneuver our way through is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but what's on the other side is fucking beautiful.
That's just it. That's where I'm at.
People.
Yeah.
You're in the uncomfortable spot right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And we have people witnessing it live, which is lovely. Lovely.
Yeah, like that's vulnerability at its finest, right?
Yeah. And so what I also did for the book, and what's interesting about this journal is that there's like these blank pages in the middle of the journal. And so what came to me were to put quotes in there.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so I decided to only pick Rumi quotes.
Oh, that's great.
Because he was an amazing philosopher and a lover. And so I have these pages of Rumi quotes. And the one that I really love is, if you want the moon, do not hide at night. If you want a rose, do not run from the thorns. If you want love, do not hide from yourself.
If you can't be vulnerable with yourself, who can you be vulnerable with? I mean, that goes back to the age-old, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to expect somebody to love you?
Absolutely.
A little homage to RuPaul there.
Right?
But it's true.
It is true.
It is true. And I think that, and I'm sure there's oftentimes that you and I share messages in these videos that seem probably a bit repetitive with other people's teachings and lessons. And that's because we really are all sort of trying to share the same message. It's just that we're different vessels to sort of get it through. And it is one of them. If you can't be vulnerable with yourself, if you can't be tender with yourself, how can you receive that? Yeah. So I applaud you for being vulnerable with yourself and trying to work on this softening.
All these people. That's the goal, right? That's what we're here to do.
That's right.
Is to just be transparent and share and let people know that you're not alone in what you're going through. We're in this together. So what do you feel like we should do? Should we kind of put out a challenge for people?
A little vulnerability challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? What's coming to mind for you? I'm putting you on the spot, I know.
You are.
Yeah, we didn't talk about
We
any of
didn't.
this
No,
tonight.
no, we didn't. We're
No.
just sort of flying.
Yeah.
I would sort of encourage that first you really try and exercise that muscle of being vulnerable with yourself. Really try and really be aware with how you're talking to yourself. That's huge. To be a little bit more tender with yourself and a little bit more patient with yourself, and open up and be vulnerable. If you have a story that you feel ready to share with someone, a piece of you that you're ready to open up and be vulnerable with, maybe share that with someone that you trust and you know will be gentle with your story. But I would also advise that you share a story that you're already working on the healing of whatever that is, so that whatever their response back to you isn't detrimental to your healing. You're already pretty secure in where you are on it. But if you feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable and open yourself up and share something, I would encourage that you do that.
The cats are wild.
They're going wild, hey?
I don't know what kind of energy is in this house.
There is something big in this house tonight.
Yeah, wow. But another thing that was coming to me as you were speaking was I feel that an exercise in vulnerability is actually looking at yourself completely naked.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, well, as you were speaking, it's what kind of popped in my mind. I'm like, what would feel vulnerable to me? And that would be, whoa, that's the vision I had. Yeah. So
don't run past the mirror. Take the time and stop and pause and really look at yourself. Really be vulnerable with yourself in that moment.
I feel like it starts there. Because a lot of the times we cover up, which is I'm guilty of now. But so I invite you all to take that challenge. And you can write us in and let us know how you feel about that and what happens. What comes up for you when you look at yourself completely naked? Yeah. We should do it too.
Yeah.
We write about it.
We'll write about it.
I mean, I do it every day.
Yeah.
And I kind of dance around. It starts my day. Like I feel that it's, I guess I am going to share this. What? All of it's coming out tonight, people. But in the name of vulnerability.
In the name, the things we do.
Right. But it's like, that is my way of connecting into that intimacy within myself. So it's like, and in the beginning, when I first did it, I did not feel comfortable. I did not feel comfortable looking at myself. I was focusing on my cellulite. I was focusing on stretch marks. I was focusing on the pieces of me that I didn't like.
Or that made you feel the most vulnerable?
Yes. Oh, there you go. You nailed it. But then something started to shift inside me, because instead of focusing on the things that I didn't like, I started to have a little more self-compassion for myself. So I started to be more kind and gentle. And then, I would caress my shoulders and look and focus on the things that I did enjoy. And so I like this part of my neck right here. I love that spot right there.
Yeah.
And so I would focus on that area and go, oh, that's like,
this is nice. I like
that.
this.
I like that. And I do like my neck and my chest area, like around here. And I do like my forearm. So then I just started focusing on that. And then in that feeling that I had of love started to open me up even more.
Because the more you focus on something, the more it expands. So the more you're focusing on the pieces of you that you loved and accepted, the more your love and acceptance for yourself started to grow.
Yes. Yeah. And then eventually when I look at the stuff that in the beginning that I didn't quite like, I was like, oh, it's all right.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's a part of who I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how it shifted.
Yeah.
Wow, we just nailed it.
Yeah. Well, that sums up vulnerability. See ya. No.
Right? It's kind of like, I feel like that's the starting point for people, is to kind of look at yourself naked and what comes up for you and take it from there. Because I've been actually doing this for about a year now.
Yeah.
And I'm just now in retrospect, like thinking about it, now I'm to the point where I look at myself and I'm smiling and I'm swaying and I'm dancing and I'm feeling good. Like every time, like there isn't, even when I'm bloated or feeling uncomfortable in my body, I'm still looking at myself with eyes of love. Yeah. Right.
Because, love spoken here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and especially here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would really love to hear people's stories about vulnerability and what it means to be vulnerable. We really want to hear from you.
We do. We love hearing from you. We love hearing your stories. We love hearing your comments and your ideas, your suggestions. So tell us something that makes you feel vulnerable, if you want.
And then challenge yourself with it and see what happens.
Yeah. Get naked in front of the mirror.
Should we see what oh my God. So would you like to know what the card is for tonight? Of course you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Freedom Horse.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom Horse. So now we're going to read what that message is.
Yeah.
Do you know how to look it up?
It's just in alphabetical order.
Perfect. And would you like to read it?
Sure.
Okay. There you go.
There you go.
So here's our message on vulnerability tonight.
So, card meaning, let your spirit fly. Do not hold back. Break free and express yourself. Flaunt yourself. Flaunt your stuff. Dance, laugh, explore, and go beyond predictable behavior. Get out of the rut. You don't need to fit the mold. Be daring. Fling your arms to the heavens. Enjoy. And so these cards are broken down into card meaning, your native spirit wants you to know, and then a journey. So the next section is your native spirit wants you to know. The horse allowed the natives of the Americas and Mongolia to travel great distances with ease. The horse also carried their supplies, which additionally granted freedom to those ancient peoples. This card chose you to remind you that you aren't here to be ordinary, but to step beyond limitations and self-imposed boundaries. Don't allow yourself to be trapped by convention or by the expectation of others. You have the ability to choose your life on your terms. Replace the phrase, I should, with I could, but I choose not to at this time. Perhaps you aren't always free to create the exact circumstances in your life, but you're certainly able to decide what meaning to give those situations. Select meanings that empower you, for this is the time to break free. And so the journey, a little exercise it gives you, is the way you use your body can change your state. Put on music and dance with wild ambition. As you do so, this sends a powerful message to your subconscious that you are indeed truly free.
What the frig was I just talking about?
Right?
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 That plugs into last week's intuition.
It's true.
It's magic.
It's magic.
Every time.
Always. I love it when we get together.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
I feel like that's
kind of it, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone for watching.
Yeah. Thank you for connecting and respecting and allowing us a safe place to be vulnerable. We want to offer the same to you.
Lots of love.
Lots of love.
Bye for now.